Most of our attention this morning has been at Moonee Valley, and a man that was there for all the track work breakfast with the stars was Brent Zerafa from racing.com. Joins us on the Sports Daily now. BZ, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, it was a beautiful morning out at Moonee Valley, and a tinge of sadness because Moonee Valley, as we know it, is not going to exist for much longer, but it was good to get out there this morning and see some of the stars of the sport.
Drama-free this morning as opposed to 12 months ago, Brent, but no less important nonetheless.
Yeah, that was one of the big takeaways, and even chatting with Chris Waller following the work of Via Sistina and also Aliana and Buckaroo. He was sort of just happy to get through unscathed. He had that bit of a smile on his face to say, well, I'd much rather this experience than what we went through 12 months ago. So from that perspective, it was... I wouldn't say boring, but it certainly wasn't as dramatic as what it was 12 months ago.
Absolutely. So what feeling did you get from chatting with Chris Waller about how Via Sistina's going? Is she ready to peak again on Saturday?
Yes, that is the feeling I was getting from Chris. And he described the work this morning quite well for people to understand in that Saturday, Aliana, Via Sistina and Buckaroo all went to Moonee Valley for their serious work. That was their training run, and he said today was more like the captain's run. Today was just about going there, not doing too much, just having another stretch of the legs, just having a little bit of a look. So their serious piece of work was done on Saturday, and that is something that Chris Waller has done in previous years, whether it be with Via Sistina last year, whether it be Winks, with basically all the runners that he's had in the Cox Plate. He likes to have the serious hit out away from all the fanfare, and then he's more than happy to bring them on the Tuesday morning, have a little bit of a poke around, have a look around, stretch their legs, just get everything sort of all in motion. But, they weren't out to break any records this morning.
All right. Can I just ask you, Brent, in your opinion, how is she going, Via Sistina?
I think she's going really well. I think she's right at the spot where Chris Waller wants her. And, last year she came to Melbourne. She was defeated in the Makybe Diva Stakes, which was similar to what happened this year. Then she won the Turnbull and won the Turnbull on a wet track by a narrow margin over Buckaroo, and then she really elevated in the Cox Plate. And I know we haven't seen her win so far in Melbourne, but I don't think her Turnbull run was as bad as what it may look or may seem on paper. It was a really dry track. They were running slick times from the front. She only went steady early, and then it was a zip home. So I just don't know if all the elements have been there for her to run better than what she has. And, okay, she may not have the aura of invincibility that she may once had, but my personal opinion is she's just humming along beautifully. Chris has got her in the spot where he wants her, and now she'll open up on Saturday in the grand final, and she'll show us where she's really at.
All right, so with Tab Touch at the moment now, with the final field and the barrier draw being conducted this morning, Via Sistina is at $2. Antino, the market says, is the main danger at $3.80. Is that how you read the Cox Plate at this stage? Obviously, BZ, knowing that you haven't dived deeply into the form.
Yeah, I think that is completely fair enough. And the way the barrier draw is conducted for the Cox Plate is unlike most races in that connections, whoever's drawn out first gets to pick where they want to draw. And Via Sistina was one of the early horses to be drawn out, and Connections elected to go with Barrier 5. And I think that is the perfect draw for her. Look, yes, it's only a 9-runner field, so it's not as though we've got a capacity field of 14 and there's as much traffic as there has been previously. But when you consider we've got a meeting at Moonee Valley on Friday night, and then you back up and you have the Cox Plate meeting on Saturday, the rail's expected to stay in the True for Friday night, then into the True on Saturday. There's going to be wear down on the inside, which is unfamiliar, not unfamiliar for Cox Plates. They generally are in the middle of the track by, Cox Plate time. So I think that gives just James McDonald so many options. She can work into the race when she wants to. She's not down buried on the fence looking to try and work her way into the clear or in what may end up being, slightly inferior part of the ground. So I think it's all ticking along very nicely for Via Sistina, and you can't really knock what Tony Gollan has been able to put down with Antino. And like we saw with him during the Brisbane winter. Once he got to 2,000 metres and he was at sort of his peak fitness, that's when you can really see Blake Shin push the button on him and ride the race that he wants to.
What's the latest with Globe, Brent?
Well, unfortunately, chatting with Mick Price this morning at around 6:45 our time, the gallops were sort of just underway at that point. I just sort of quipped to Mick, how's Globe going? You didn't want to bring him out to Moonee Valley this morning. He said, well, we've had him down at the beach because all's not 100% with him. So he does have a minor issue. Tough to try and explain it in radio terms, but he's got nothing significant. It's nothing to do with the bones, but he's got a minor fetlock issue, and he's going to have more scans and needs to be cleared on Thursday. So Mick was pretty circumspect about it. He said, look, if the horse is right, he'll run. If he's not right, he won't run, but we'll give him up until Thursday to sort that out. So that would have a big bearing on the race because he looked to be the horse that would go forward and add some speed to it, because outside of Globe, it does look very much up in the air as to where the speed may come from.
Yeah, absolutely. So Globe at $14 with Tab Touch at the moment came up with barrier number 7. You touched on it at the top when we welcomed you in, BZ, just the feeling around Moonee Valley and the last time it's going to look like it is at the moment for Cox Plate Day. Was there a bit of a different feeling about the morning this morning?
I don't know if it was a different feeling, but it was a good crowd. There was a lot of people there, as we generally get for this meeting. But, it wasn't a different feeling, but it's just one of those that you just sort of may have a bit more of a look around and start to reminisce yourself and start to take it all in, because it's such a magnificent venue. It is a shame, I believe, that they're changing it. I understand why they are, but, they're going to be sort of moving with the times and modernising Moonee Valley as we know it. It'll be reconfigured, the grandstand will shift, and it is old and tired, but it does have a charm that has become so synonymous with this race. And looking forward to, while I'm not going to be actually on track on Saturday, I'll be in the racing.com studio Saturday. I'm looking forward to going out Friday night to enjoy the races. But there'll be magnificent pictures, no doubt, beaming across from everywhere at the Valley, and fingers crossed we get some nice weather into Saturday.
Was there a horse who worked this morning that had you going to your phone and opening a betting app?
No, I'm not I wouldn't say I'm a track watcher.
Yep.
/ then turn into having a bet on the back of that. So no, I couldn't say that. One thing I would say is physically, I was very impressed with how Via Sistina presented. She looks as though she's really come on in terms of her preparation, and I think she's ready to show her worth on Saturday. So I wouldn't say it was her track work that necessarily swayed me, because she certainly didn't break any records, but it was more a physical, the way she walked on and off the track, the way she looked. I don't think Chris Waller could have her appearing any better going into the big one.
Brent, if I was to say to you, so you think, what's the first word that springs to mind?
Beast. He was just an unbelievable horse, and that 2009 Cox Plate, it was a run that not many were anticipating he would be able to achieve, but as a 3-year-old he was set alight by Glenn Boss, and the rest is history. But then his 2010 Cox Plate, Winks, Black Caviar, they had their own aura and their own, I suppose, place when they come to the races. But there was something about So You Think that was just so dominant in the way that he crushed his rivals that day in 2010, winning his second Cox Plate. And I know it's been spoken about plenty of times before, but who knows how many he would have ended up with if he stayed here in Australia. A horse that dominated in both hemispheres. We haven't had too many weight for age horses that have been Australian trained from the start of their career and then go to Europe and win as many Group 1s as what he did on the world stage. So I think his CV speaks for itself. You won't find a better looking animal, not that makes them any faster, but he just had all the attributes. He had the good looks, he was a physical specimen, and he was a seriously fast and tough horse. What a loss to the industry, but no doubt he leaves a very, very big legacy.
Yeah, absolutely. What a rock star he was. Really well summed up, BZ. Thank you very much for your time on the Sports Daily. Enjoy Friday night and happy punting over the 2 days of the Cox Plate Carnival.
Yeah, can't wait. All the best, and hope everyone enjoys the week.
But we're reliving the Everest once again here on the Sports Daily, and a man from the Hong Kong Jockey Club, Head of Racing Product, Greg Carpenter, joins us on the show. Greg, a very good morning to you, and thank you very much for your time.
It's a pleasure, Taylor and Digby. I hope you're both well. It was a fantastic day at Randwick on Saturday, a great day for Hong Kong racing and for world racing.
Yeah,
so,
indeed.
Very happy to...
As you should be, Greg. Good morning to you. Yeah, what was it like Saturday, particularly with your Hong Kong Jockey Club hat on?
Well, Hong Kong horses certainly punch above their weight on the world stage. We've only got about 1,300 horses in work in Hong Kong. We've had Romantic Warrior a few years ago now go to the Cox Plate at Moonee Valley, which comes up this Saturday, and prevail there, go to Japan and win the UC to Kinnan, win in Dubai and run second in a Saudi Cup. And David Hayes took up the challenge with his owner, Mr. Leung, with our champion sprinter, Ying Rising, in the Everest. He'd already won 13 races on end in Hong Kong and was acknowledged as the best sprinter in the world. He's got an enormous reputation in Europe, North America, and now also in Australia. So I think the starting point with any horse that campaigns overseas is actually to win, to go there and win, because it is enormously challenging to go and take on the home side on their home soil against quality opposition win the race. And he was able to do that in reasonably emphatic style on Saturday and prove just how good he is to sports fans and racing fans in Australia.
You mentioned Romantic Warrior. This horse, Ying Rising, how does his profile in Hong Kong compare to Romantic Warrior?
Well, it's a really interesting question. David Hayes has been asked, I've been asked to compare Ying Rising to Black Caviar. She was incomparable, unbeaten in 25 starts. Ying Rising is a sprinter who is not a tearaway sprinter. He's got incredible tactical speed, and you would have noticed on Saturday that he flew the start. Zach was able to bring him back underneath him, sit in third place, and when overpass, surged to the front in the home straight, come up alongside him, and then put the race to bed in the last 150 metres. So he runs very, very fast times. The Everest itself on Saturday, they ran a tick over 1:18 for the 1200. He's broken 1:8 in Hong Kong, running 1:7 and change 5 times. So he seems to do it very, very easily under a hold from Zach. And I really do think, guys, that we are yet to see the best of him. He has actually won over 1,400 metres at Group 1 level, and I think going out beyond 1,200 is not out of contention in the future. Romantic Warrior, well, he's just a war horse. He beat Mr. Brightside in that epic Cox Plate finish after he'd done an enormously challenging trip down to Australia to even compete in the race. He took on Japan's best milers. He beat them. He won in Dubai over 1,800. Then he went to Saudi, the richest race in the world, on dirt, a surface he'd never run on before. And him and Forever Young cleared out 12 lengths away from the rest of the field. So he's a magnificent horse over a lot of distances. And the good news for fans around the world is that he's very close to racing again. He'll be racing on November the 23rd, ahead of the international races we have here in December the 14th. And the good news with Ying Rising is that he's back in Hong Kong. He arrived around 3 o'clock this morning. He's already settled into the quarantine barn at Sha Tin Racecourse. There is a chance that he may also race on November the 23rd. But whatever the case, he will definitely be in the Hong Kong Sprint at Sha Tin on December the 14th. So that's going to be one of the great race days we've ever staged in Hong Kong, with the return of both Ying Rising and Romantic Warrior in front of 80 to 100,000 adoring fans.
Greg, unsurprisingly, David, in the wake of Saturday's triumph, said we'll be back here in 12 months' time. You mentioned December 14, the International Day there. Looking forward to that, I think, as all racing enthusiasts are. How many starts are, I suppose, available for Ying Rising with the level he is at now before he ventures back down to Australia next spring?
Well, it's a really good question. The next target, as I said, is either the Group 2 race on November 23rd or the Hong Kong Sprint. And then we have two more Group 1 races over 1,200 metres in the first half of next year. He won both of those last year, and also a 1,400-metre Group 1 race. So there's probably 5 potential races that he could run in before he gets set for another campaign at the 2026 Everest. And that would include, as he did this year, running first up on the first meeting of the season prior to heading down to Australia. Hong Kong, it's a really interesting racing environment. There is another milestone ahead of him. He's now won 14 wins in a row. The Magnificent Silent Witness holds the record here in Hong Kong of 17. So if he wins twice more in the next month or two, that will take him to 16. So there'll be an enormous build-up to those couple of runs early in the new season. It's great that they've already declared that they will go back to the Everest next year. The Hong Kong Jockey Club took the slots from the ATC. Mr. Leung, the owner of Ying Rising, is an incredible sportsman. The team, the Hong Kong staff of David Hayes did a great job travelling down with Ying Rising. And quite frankly, I think you'll probably see a better horse in 12 months than you did on Saturday. But the next big target for him is Hong Kong International Sprint on December the 14th, then the 17th and the 18th win in a row, if he can get there, to break that Hong Kong record. And then they'll be firmly focused on the Everest again in 2026.
You would have had an idea, Greg, before moving up there to Hong Kong, but now that you're entrenched in racing up there for a couple of years, the importance of the Hong Kong Jockey Club on world racing and the promotion of world racing, has your view on that changed now you're inside the organisation?
Look, it's probably been further enhanced. I mean, my view has always been that if horse racing around the world is to thrive and continue, and racing fans in the next generation can have the joy and the privilege that we've had of enjoying great racing through our lives and my career that started in Perth 45 years ago, that people have to embrace international competition. So week in, week out, Hong Kong racing, Wednesday night at Happy Valley, Saturday or Sunday at Sha Tin, is incredibly competitive. Jockeys and trainers from all over the world come to compete. We run our international races. And what our Hong Kong horses in recent times have shown, that they're willing to go overseas and take on the best, which is going to keep carrying horse racing forward as a sport around the world. The world pool and betting with the world has allowed other jurisdictions to showcase their racing to punters and racing fans around the world. It's allowed enormous financial benefits to those racing jurisdictions, and even with a jurisdiction going as strongly as Sydney as the ATC would have very much welcomed the income that World Pool generated for them on Saturday's Everest. So I think everyone has to embrace international competition. I'd love to see Australian owners and trainers travel more. You've seen Henry Dwyer do it this year and last year with Asfura. But take her away, there haven't been a lot of Australians that have taken up the challenge in recent years. But I think what World Pool does, giving a showcase to racing around the world, giving much-needed financial income to jurisdictions around the world, and encouraging horses to travel for good prize money in different jurisdictions and take their good horses and showcase them on the world stage, is absolutely imperative for the success of our sport going forward.
Did you do 18 Melbourne Cup weights, Greg? Am I right in saying 18?
I did.
Did you miss it?
I did, and I haven't done any as well as David Hagan has. He's doing a fantastic job. When you do a role like that for 18 years and work alongside David, who has done a fantastic job since I left there in 2022. It's great to see that someone who you've worked with and hope will take over and continue the tradition doing the Melbourne Cup and the Caulfield Cup weights. Will do a great job, and David has done that. It was a really interesting renewal of the Caulfield Cup on Saturday, and well done to Tony and Calvin McAvoy winning the Caulfield Cup, and hopefully he'll run well in the Melbourne Cup. And I'm also very interested in our Riffer, Joseph O'Brien's horse, who David gave top weight to. There hasn't been a top weight win for a little while, although Kieran Ma's horse did a few years ago, my last Melbourne Cup. And hopefully he will then head to Hong Kong for International Day in December. But 18 Melbourne Cups was a great privilege and an honour, as it is now working in Hong Kong, which is no doubt the most competitive racing jurisdiction week in, week out in the world.
You mentioned those 18 Melbourne Cups, Greg. Do you miss all the feedback you used to get? It was a privilege to do the race. You grow up as a kid in Albany. You want to do a Perth Cup, which I did in a railway stakes, and then you travel overseas and you go back to Australia and only become the ninth person to release the weights for the Melbourne Cup. And there were some great versions of it, Bart Cummings and winning it with Viewed, and the Japanese winning their first race. Very elegant, winning with a big weight. Great moments. Every cup has a great story. And I'm sure there'll be another one on the first Tuesday, which is coming up very, very quickly. And really interesting, guys, just to think that Moonee Valley Racecourse after this Saturday's Cox Plate will be flipped 90 degrees. So it'll be completely different when it goes back there in 2 years' time. So hopefully everyone will enjoy the Cox Plate. If anyone's heading over from Perth to Moonee Valley this week, savour the moment, because it'll be a completely different race course when you go back there in 2 years' time.
Yeah, absolutely. Just one more before we let you go, Greg. Just touch on Zach Purton and the legacy that once he eventually does walk away from the sport, that he's going to leave in the sport of horse racing.
Well, he's probably one of the most focused athletes in any sport that I've been involved with. He is a serious competitor, great tactician, a great rider, and he's not a person that, if you talk about a champion footballer who starts with enormous natural talent and then becomes a champion. You know, Zach had to do a lot of hard yards when he first went to Hong Kong as a young guy up from Queensland, and make his way there. He didn't walk in as a champion and assert himself straight away. He had to work hard to get where he is. And now he is an incredibly focused jockey who just continues to get success week in, week out. It was a great thrill for him to win the Everest. It was a great show watching David try to be upbeat and Zach being a little bit less so leading into it. It was a nice duo. But he got the job done on Saturday. He gets the job done in Hong Kong week in, week out. And he has worked as hard as any successful athlete in any sport to get where he is. And he deserves every success that he does. And he's a great partnership with his wife, Nicole, and their two beautiful children. So I hope he keeps riding here in Hong Kong for many more years. But seeing him up close, it's like the last 3.5 years I've been in Hong Kong has been a privilege.
Well said. Great to have a chat this morning, Greg. Enjoy the remainder of the Melbourne Spring Carnival.
Thanks, and good luck to everyone with the Perth Carnival. It's well and truly getting warmed up, so look forward to seeing some great races in Perth over the next 6 to 8 weeks.
Thank you very much. There's Greg Carpenter, the head of racing product at the Hong Kong Jockey Club, covering a wide range of topics there, Zach Purton, and just the importance of the Hong Kong Jockey Club. I'm not sure if it's gone. It certainly hasn't gone backwards, but the importance of the Hong Kong Jockey Club over the last couple of years with the likes of Romantic Warrior and now Ying rising, it's just increasing on the world stage.
Oh, yeah. Look, what Romantic Warrior not only has done down here, but abroad, he's just... And again, maybe we know him or we've got a stronger link to him because of J-Mac's involvement. I'm not entirely sure. But he's a special animal, and certainly what Ying Rising did on the weekend, we spoke about it on Monday, TC, how effortlessly he cruised up to them, and they've run 1-8-1-3. And as Greg said, I think he's broken 1-8 4 or 5 times over there in Hong Kong. Now, that's on a track which we understand and appreciate is Flint Hard, but That wasn't the case there on the weekend, and they've run time, and it didn't look like they were doing it. And Greg, like others, have said, we haven't seen the best of this horse yet. My goodness, what does the best version look like?
Yeah, going to be hard to beat in an Everest if he comes back in that sort of form. Once again, next year we'll head out to the roads and we'll catch up with Bernie Miller on the other side. All right, now, as we said before, trainer Bernie Miller joins us on the Sports Daily now to talk about the trial yesterday of Jokers Grin and what we can expect next. Bernie, thank you very much for your time and a good morning.
Good morning, Taylor. Good morning, Diggers.
How are you, Bern?
Jolly fine, splendid, mate.
Good to hear, good to hear. How is Jokers Grin in the wake of that trial yesterday at Lark Hill?
No, very good, mate. Yeah, he's had a good night, and I'm just with him right now, mucking around with him. So, no, all good, buddy.
How much improvement did he take from trial 1 to trial number 2?
Oh, yeah, a fair bit, mate, fair bit. So, we've still got a bit to go yet, so next couple of weeks we'll tune him up a little bit more, but, the grand final's not for a little while yet, so we're still holding a bit under there.
So, Bern, with him now, he's had the 2 trials, the first on October 6th, the second yesterday. Is he where he needs to be to your eye for this stage of his preparation?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, I think he might be a fraction just in front. So,
Okay.
But everything's going real good, Diggers.
Good to hear. Now, Paddy's of the view, and I dare say you are as well, that looks like he's strengthened up and he's a bigger, more imposing individual than what he perhaps was in the autumn. Is that fair?
Yeah, for sure, mate. As I've said it a few times now, that when we started on him this time in, I reckon he had put a minimum of 50 kilos. That's now, that's now turned into muscle, and he's a very composing young man now. So mannerisms are all changed. He's very laid back, just a gentleman. He likes to play with you and have a bit of fun and have a joke, but his head's in the right spot and his body's starting to be like the supreme athlete, mate.
So early on in his career, settling in a race was a little bit of an issue, Bernie, but from what you're sort of saying there, he's changed a little bit mentally and he knows what his job is now.
Yeah, I can just see further improvement now with it, especially when you're racing against the higher class horses and there's good speed and stuff on, mate. You're starting to settle and listen to Pat and they're starting to work as a team and no, everything's good.
Okay, so what do you do between now and the Prince of Wales on November 1, Bern, with him?
Mate, he'll just do his normal pace work. At Saturday he will go to Belmont and have a nice sprint on the Saturday, and then the week leading up to it, just a bit of pace work and a bit of evens on the Thursday, mate, and then just look after him for the next couple of days.
Have you ever thought about travelling with him, or have you ever wanted to travel a horse and maybe race in a different jurisdiction at all, Bernie?
But if you want to be a waffle player, play in the waffle. So I want to, mate, this horse is, I believe, got the ability to be over there, and I think that's where he's going to end up.
So would that be, have you thought past this preparation? Are you thinking in the autumn, or would it be this time next year he might be on the East Coast?
I reckon this time next year, TC.
Yep.
Did you watch the Everest on the weekend, Bern?
Yeah, I did. I really enjoyed it, mate. It was absolutely fantastically done. Wished Headwell was in it.
Did you follow Overpass? We know that obviously Jokers Grin and Overpass met in the Quokka earlier this year.
Yeah, for sure. Diggs, that's why I watched it, and just to see how Overpass went. And you can wish and dream, but you know, it encouraged me a lot. But it's all up to the owners where in time to come whereabouts we go and all that. But after watching it, going rising, and Jesus, you look at that and you think, wow. But our bloke wouldn't have been out of place being in that race, I don't think, on the weekend. But we weren't there, so don't be half and 100 or worrying about it.
Yep.
Yeah. Had you had any contact about an Everest this year, Bernie?
Early days we did, mate.
Yep.
But, I just told him he's too green, too raw, not yet. We'll just wait until we get everything lined up and make sure he's the perfect racehorse before we tackle stuff like that.
Yep.
So talking of lining up, Bern, I know you've outlined it previously. Are you in a position again just to confirm what this campaign looks like for Lukey?
Yes, mate. Prince of Wales, Colonel Reeves, Winterbottom, and then all going well, like to finish up in the Gold Rush, then put him away for a few weeks and get ready for the autumn, mate.
Is it possible that he improves out to 1,400 metres, Bernie, do you think?
Mate, I gut feeling the way know the family. I'm quite sure once we get everything right and he really listens and works in with Pat, I reckon he'll get 14 plus.
14 plus there for Jokers. Now, talking of the family, he's got siblings, hasn't he, this fellow?
Yeah, mate. Yep. He's sorry, mate.
Yeah, go on, Ben. Sorry.
Yep. There's a half to him, but I Snippet son, and we got a full yearling filly, and the mare's just had a colt, which is a full to him as well this year.
Little brother.
Yeah.
Any similarities?
Well, the little filly, the yearling filly, she reminds me very much of the mother.
Yep.
And she's a little feisty run around thing. So so we'll wait and see.
Okay, so is the family going to keep all of the siblings?
Well, I hope so.
I'm sure you do.
Well, Jonesy and I have got went 50-50 with, thanks, mate, 50-50 with the filly.
Yep.
And I didn't go in with the other one, but just got to wait and see what happens, mate.
Yeah, exactly right.
Take half Jokers Grin ability in the family, wouldn't you? Surely.
What was that?
You'd take half the ability of Jokers Grin in the rest of the family, Bernie, wouldn't you?
Oh, Christ, yeah, mate. Yeah, when we had Cup Night, I thought there was no one in the world over could get another horse like him, and we didn't see the best of him because of his speed.
Yep.
And now this little bloke pops along, and you think, Christ almighty.
Jeez, I'm not sure he's that little, Bernie.
I don't go to sleep because I'm too scared I'm going to wake up out of the dream.
Very good.
How about Here's for Checks on Saturday? What'd you make of that effort?
Mate, just a terrible run race, not by him, but the way the race was, I believe. And he got a bit of a check at the top of the straight, and he's a horse that needs a bit of open air and make the one run. As soon as he gets hampered with anything or checked out of it or squeezed up, he hasn't got that electricity turn of foot to get himself back in there in time. Yep. But he wasn't disgraced, mate. No, I was happy with him.
It seems to be going well. The first up run suggested that he's going well, this preparation.
I think it's the best he's been. Like Paddy's told me, it's the best he's been. He thinks, since we started on him, and it's definitely the best he's felt for a long, long time. He's got legs worse than me, the poor bastard. But everything's shaping up nice, and But we just keep plodding along. He's a good bread and butter horse, and the people that own him are all fantastic. Really nice people, and they are enjoying the moment. So, yeah. He'll batter up again in a couple of weeks' time and just keep going through it.
Bern, wonderful to chat to you this morning. Thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to seeing Jokers Grin in the Prince of Wales on November 1.
Always a pleasure. Thanks, Diggity. Thanks, Taylor. Anytime, guys.
There's Bernie Miller. I'm sure we'll be chatting to him very, very shortly again on the Sports Daily as Jokers Grin embarks on a Winterbottom and then hopefully a Gold Rush. Everything going right. It sounds like hopefully this time next year we'll be talking about him just having run in an Everest.
Well, yeah. Well, and you can draw the lines, can't you? The form lines. To be fair. Like he beat Overpass. Now Overpass, how was Overpass going last year? I don't think it really matters. They ran 1.931. He stomped home to win this year, to win the Quokka. Overpass was in that race, and Overpass was nosed out of third position on the weekend, having run a beauty. So if Jokers Grin has improved physically and perhaps matured mentally, you might even see a better version in the next 4 to 6 weeks, which is frightening, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a little bit of news before we go to a break. Norm Smith medalist Jason Johannesson hasn't been offered a new contract at the Western Bulldogs.
Right.
Still have something to give somewhere, wouldn't he?
Who's taking him on? How old is Jason Johannesson? Be 33, 34, wouldn't he?
Is he that old?
I'll do a check.
Possibly.
Oh, I think we've seen the best. Well, we've seen the best of Jason, haven't we? I know he's a WA boy and all the rest of it. He's 33 in November, 33 next month. So he might find a new home. I wouldn't be tipping into him.
All right. Out to a quick break. Back with your text messages 0427 789 571 to get in touch here at the Sports Daily.